Okay, so Mary Poppins Returns. It's been over 50 years since that first film, based on the novels by P.L. Travers, where Mary Poppins came to save the Banks family when they were at their worst and remind them, what it's like to, still have an imagination, still be, to still have that childlike wonder in you, but still be prim and proper at the same time, as Mary Poppins usually is. It's been 50 years. Since that last film, but apparently it's only been maybe about 20 or so years in this sequel here, because apparently now the Banks children of Michael and Jane, they've grown up. Jane is now a single woman trying to fight for a labor union, because it's a depressing time in London right now and workers are having a tough go of it. And Ben Whishaw now plays Michael Banks, and he's got 3 children of his own. He had a wife, but she died because, I don't know, Disney movie, usually kids have to lose their parents somehow. And they've fallen on hard times. Like, they with 3 kids, you can barely afford to keep up the rent. I mean, they have a housekeeper played by Julie Walters, who's very feisty, but she can only do so much. And then even when Jane stops by, Emily Mortimer's character can only do so much too. They need money to make sure they're not evicted, because the evil banker Colin Firth, he's got it out for them. He doesn't seem like he does at first, but he's got it out for the Banks family. So they need some help. And so, of course, Mary Poppins comes in to save the day. She flies in, as she did in the first film, and she basically does the same thing. She comes to Michael's aid and says, "Hey, you know what I did with you as a kid? Well, I'm going to give your kids the same treatment. So just go off and just worry about saving the house and making money, and I'll treat the kids right. I'll teach them some valuable lessons, and maybe I'll take them to a fantasy world, she pretty much gives them the standard treatment. Like a bath turns into an underwater adventure. Which, of course, Mary Poppins will deny that it happened, just in the kids' minds. She's trying to play like mind games with them. A porcelain vase turns into a cartoon world. Actually, pretty interesting cartoon world, because it seems like the surface kind of like warps gravity in this cartoon world, where it almost kind of seems like it's porcelain. Their clothes seem really odd. Like, it seems like their clothes are kind of like of flat designs, almost kind of like sharing the 2D aspect. And then, of course, you got some great 2D animation. Because of course, it's Disney. If they do 2D animation, you expect it to look great, And of course, it does look great, and you will get to see the return of the penguins. But of course, Mary Poppins, she can do all this crazy crap. She's barely aged since Michael's age. She's got the mustache now, but Mary Poppins, even though now she's played by Emily Blunt, she pretty much looks like her same youthful self. Like you've seen in the trailer. Michael asks, oh, you have you even aged? And it's like, you don't ask a woman her age. It's not proper. And I love the fact that she can excuse away all these like fantastical elements by saying like, manners. It's like it's kind of like the Willy Wonka theory, where like Willy Wonka would just excuse all his fantastical stuff by just saying like, oh, that's impolite. That's not part of the game here. And then, like I said, it pretty much goes through all the standard motions. It's supposed to be a sequel, but I think it's more of a remake in spirit, because, like I said, it's the standard Mary Poppins treatment. They go to the cartoon world. There's a lot of song and dance here about simple stuff like chores. They do have a sequence where they go to visit someone who's played by Meryl Streep, who's kind of like a fixer-upper, but she's having problems with gravity, so of course there's dancing up on the ceiling. And then there's of course there's the Cockney edition of Lin-Manuel Miranda is playing Jack, not Bert, because apparently Bert is off exploring the world for some reason, but Jack was apparently Bert's protege. And so Jack is kind of like, like Mary Poppins' biggest fan. Like, oh, Bert told me everything about you. I'm your biggest fan. So it's like, of course, you got to bring Jack along. Also because, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda. Am I saying his name right? Yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda. And of course, he's got some great vocals. Of course, the film begins with him singing. We can't even wait for him to get into the music here. And of course, you got to have someone to come up with Mary Poppins on stage when she's asked to perform a dance number. And I got to hand it to, like, the music here. I love the fact that the music isn't actually... Like, it's remake... Like I said, it's a remake in spirit, where it feels like the songs are of the same tone, but they're much different songs overall. And I especially like the sequence where both Mary Poppins and Jack are singing about are having like a song and dance number about books. Well, for one, it's an interesting song. It's got a great message behind it. But I also love the fact that the lyrics of all the rhyming and like the fast pace of going through these different stories that they sing about, it really gives Lin-Manuel Miranda a chance to really push his vocals as far as they can go with how much he can deliver. And he nails it. It's fun as hell to watch him in this film. Pretty much there's a great supporting cast here. You have Meryl Streep, who I mentioned. She gets a great song and dance number, of course. Colin Firth, unfortunately, doesn't get a song and dance number, even though it would have been cool to see that. You have Dick Van Dyke, who comes back as Mr. Dawes, except Mr. Dawes Jr., I think. He's essentially the old man character from the first film, but now he really doesn't need the extra makeup to look like the old man. Now he pretty much is an old man, so he fits snugly into the role there, and he does get a song and dance number too. But the most interesting, one other person to mention is David Warner, who you might know from Tron and a whole bunch of other films. He has a great little role as this kind of like admiral of this house where he basically launches a cannon off his roof every time like the Big Ben strikes a certain number. He's pretty cool there. But then you also got Angela Lansbury, who's at the very end of the film as a balloon lady. And she gets a great little song in there, and she hands out magical balloons, and all the adults and children go flying in the air, and they have a great little number that's akin to, Let's Go Fly a Kite. But what I found interesting about this sequence is that while all the adults and kids are flying up in the air with balloons, Angela Lansbury and Emily Blunt meet, and Lansbury says, they'll probably forget this by tomorrow, like all adults. And Emily Blunt's like, yeah, they probably will. And I kind of figure, like, wait a minute, hold up, back, stop. So, okay, so Angela Lansbury is kind of aware of Mary Poppins and her logic here. It almost made me think, like, okay, maybe Jack knows a little bit more, but I kept thinking, could this be a crossover of Bedknob and Broomsticks and Mary Poppins? Maybe not, but, maybe. It could be, you never know. Oh, and then, of course, I also forgot to mention, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I keep screwing up his name. Lin-Manuel, he actually does have, like I said, it's very much akin to the first film, so of course there will be a sequence with him and his lamplighter crew will dance up a storm in the streets, under cover of night and lights everywhere. They get a lot... It's interesting, like, because they have a lot of bikes, so they end up doing, like, a lot of, like, BMX-type tricks while they're singing. But they do have some fun elements to them. I like the fact that at one point, in order to save the day, they got to turn out the lights in Big Ben, so they all band together and kind of like crawl up Big Ben to like turn off the lights and fix the time. And like I said, it goes about the motions, so it becomes very obvious where the story is going by the third act. That I just kind of sat back and like, okay, let's see what the music can do. Let's see what the actors can do. And I'll just kind of enjoy for what it is. I know where the story's going. I know it's mostly just replicating the same deal. It's not really adding a lot here. There's no big new ideas to Mary Poppins here. She's pretty much doing the same thing that she's always done, except now the special effects are improved, so the 2D animation's more fluid. You've got a great porcelain world. You've got fun little sequences underwater. You got some great CGI here and some fun effects. You got some fun stuff going on here. You got some fun numbers. It doesn't top the original, because what could? But I think if you go into the film looking at it more as kind of like a love letter and a throwback type of film, I think it works. I think it's going to be very charming. It's going to be very pleasing. The performances are great. Emily Blunt is apparently looking at award season here, like where she could get nominated for this role. I think she could. She maintains this character well, this kind of like prim and properness. without being too kind of winkish towards the camera. She does a great job. But don't count Lin-Manuel out. He's still a lot of fun. He's got a lot of great songs here. The entire supporting cast I love here. Like I said, I've already gushed about Dick Van Dyke and Meryl Streep's as good as always. Dick Van Dyke, Angela Lansbury. Gotta mention them because they're all great in this film. They're all fun. They're all charming. So I would say, like, yeah, if you're gonna go in this film and you're gonna be like, okay, can this top the original? No, it's not going to. It's mostly just gonna rehash the tone of them. It's not gonna rehash the songs. It's not gonna rehash the exact same story. But it will have fun with it. It's very whimsical. It's very it's very fun. It's very, very witty, very intelligent. And it's got some great visuals. Especially, I gotta mention this too. Like, it does have that. It does, like I said, it's a love letter to the first film, so it does have a great atmosphere of embracing the original music. Like I said, like the opening has like a great kind of like tribute to the original with kind of like a similar sounding orchestra, but it also feels very quaint because the film opens with paintings of London against very simple credits. It feels very much like a great little throwback there. So yeah, it's a very, very, very magical film, very, very gentle at times, very, very fun musical numbers. So I would say, yeah, our family's gonna like it, definitely. Families are gonna adore this film. If you love the first film and you're willing to see someone new kind of take a whack at kind of like the same material and maybe bring some new numbers to it, maybe make the visuals look a little bit more exciting. Yeah, it's a pretty fun film. It's a very solid choice for the Christmas season to take the family to. Like, if you're looking for a film that you can take the entire family to on Christmas Day, this is that film. And I get the feeling it's going to be a big hit, because, well, for one, it's Disney, it's a cherished property, and I think a lot of people who are going to go into this film scrutinizing it, I think they're going to come out pleased. I think they are going to come out fairly happy with how this turns out. I was pleased. I had fun with it. I think it might have gone a little bit too long, gone through too much of the same motions, but for what it is and what it attempted to do, it's pretty fun. So for Mary Poppins Returns, 3.5 out of 5 stars.